Pues sí, mami, así son las cosas ahorita. Oh, se van desconectando. Te me andas desconectando.
Huh?
I'm live stream. Oh, good God.
Who's watching you, John? The boss? Or... They love that.
Is Kim actually pregnant?
Well, where's April?
Oh, she
You're right with you, Cheryl. She next to Mariah and Adiba.
April is amazing. But she's not in the Blue Club anymore. I screwed up bringing her here. It was about
Thank
me.
you.
The Glee Club is supposed to be about you guys.
It's bad.
We don't need her to be great.
But we need her for the second half.
So to go out there
Somebody.
and cut the show short. Guys, you were great. Don't worry. There will be other performances.
Excuse me? I think I might have a solution. In show business, when a star can't perform, her studies down. I'd be going for April if you'd let me.
Since when are you willing to be an understudy?
Somebody joined for like a second.
Why? I realized being a star didn't make me feel as special as being your friend. If I'd let you down when you needed me the most, I'd never forgive myself. I know all the words to the song.
You don't know the choreography.
And we're gonna have to give her a lot of help out there. Go get in your costume.
Somebody joined.
You guys getting off after this episode? No, I'm watching four more. Rocky's binge watching it tonight.
Somebody's looking.
Stop. I don't get why people are wearing tux suits to see meetings. Do you get it?
It's supposed to be a meme. No. Just waiting.
The last one, right? That's crazy. And that was before Finn? Or after? That's crazy. Oh wow, that's crazy. Can you imagine that you'd rather kill yourself than go to jail?
I guess there's more shame too. I wasn't joking.
That they found child pornography.
Here's what happened last week. Rachel and the Glee Club know that Quinn's pregnant, but they all think Finn's the father when really it's
An hour
not.
long.
Yikes. And Terry's only fake pregnant and wants Quinn to give her baby so Will won't find out.
We haven't had any morning sickness.
Oh, and also Ken is dating Emma, but she's really got eyes for Mr. Shoe. And that's what you missed, fun.
Wait, what?
5, 6,
I mean, wow, he's gay?
Turn out, it's gonna change, step on change, step.
What?
You. Turn. Come
I
on,
remember this
guys,
game
you're
show.
sleepwalking on me here. Give me some energy. We've got sectionals in 2 weeks.
Sectionals is gonna be a breeze.
Might as well make the whole
Maybe so.
cascade.
If we coast through sectionals, we're gonna get killed
Man,
at
look into
regionals.
a shit.
We have
Damn,
got
nigga,
to be
Finn.
on our game.
Drilling her shit with his eyes.
Sorry, funny YouTube. It's a grape stomping one.
Yo, I could have imagined him being like a better looking guy.
Kids have gotten really complacent.
The show first came
It's like the fire has totally gone out.
I'm sorry. You've got a little mustard in your cute Kirk Douglas chin dimple.
Huh? Thanks. guys to go all out, okay? Costumes, choreography. Whoever wins the competition gets to choose the number that we do for sectionals.
Wait, who's gonna be the judge? Your gender makes you biased.
Ah, there is going to be a celebrity judge.
Who?
Oh, you're gonna have to show up to find out.
We got this in the bag. Totally. I'm gonna start storyboarding our choreography tonight.
Hey, hope you guys are up for this competition. The girls look pretty pumped. We're planning on smacking him down like the hand of God. Hey, Finn, you alright? You seem a little out of it.
Yeah, I'm just a little worn out. Come on, dude. We're late for football practice.
Dear Journal, feeling listless again today. It began at dawn when I tried to make a smoothie out of beef bones, breaking my juicer. And then at Cheerios practice, disaster. It was unmistakable. It was like spotting the first spark on the Hindenburg. A quiver. That quiver will lose us nationals. And without a championship, I'll lose my endorsements. And without those endorsements, I won't be able to buy my hovercraft.
Feeling alright, boy?
I'm just really tired from Glee Club.
Glee Club. Every time I try to destroy that clutch of scab-eating mouth breathers, it only comes back stronger like some sexually ambiguous horror movie villain. Here I am, about to turn 30, and I've sacrificed everything, only to be shanghaied by the bi-curious machinations of a cabal of doughy, misshapen teens. Am I missing something, Journal? Is it me? Of course it's not me. It's Will Schuster. What is it about him, Journal? Is it the arrogant smirk? Is it the store-bought home perm? You know, Journal, I noticed something yesterday. Of course. It's coming clear to me now. If I can't destroy the club, I will have to destroy the man. Let me be frank. Your husband is hiding his kielbasa in a Hickory Farms gift basket that doesn't belong to you.
What? With who?
Guidance counselor. Real floozy and a man-eater. Wears creepy brooches like the guy my Nana was buried in. Or two.
Oh, sorry.
It's the same old song. Wife puts on a couple extra pounds.
I'm pregnant.
Oh, that's no excuse. I've always thought the desire to procreate showed deep personal weakness. Me? Never wanted kids. Don't have the time, don't have the uterus.
Are you sure about this?
A woman always knows. Let me put it to you this way. If it's not a full-blown affair, well, it's certainly heading in that direction. You need a machete to cut through the haze of lust that surrounds them.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
I think you should both pack up and move out of the district. Unless you want to lose your man to a mentally ill ginger pygmy with eyes like a bush baby.
And you're absolutely sure about this? I mean, you have proof?
Get into that school and sniff out those sex pheromones for yourself. We happen to have an opening. Our school nurse, Mrs. Lancaster's in a coma. Oh, she took a terrible tumble down the stairwell yesterday.
But I'm not a nurse. I work at Sheets and Things.
I'm not an American citizen. I was born in the Panama Canal Zone. But I managed to get a passport. I run for office twice. My advice to you, if you want to keep your husband, get creative.
Mrs. Schuster, I appreciate your interest in the nursing position, but your previous experience is limited to folding hand towels.
As assistant manager at Sheets and Things, I've had first aid training. I've also used a defibrillator.
So what did you want to talk to me about?
Oh, good news. I figured out a way to get the kids motivated. They're gonna compete against each other in a glee off. Guess who the celebrity judge is gonna be? You. You are the most
Hey,
honest and impartial person I know.
Well,
To be honest, I feel like shit.
What are you doing here?
hi.
shit, to be honest. I don't know if it's a smart idea to have asked you that question, to be honest.
Is everything okay, Terry?
But I don't know what you wanna watch.
No. You've been so
Do you
stressed
wanna
out
watch
about
scary
finances lately
videos?
that
Do you
I
wanna
thought I'd
watch
mention by getting a second job.
Mortal Kombat videos? Do you wanna watch car videos?
But you're not a nurse.
Whatever you want.
Any training.
Oh, please, Will. It's a public school.
Whatever you wanna watch, you can watch.
I'm gonna be around all the time now.
With the supers. Anything's cool.
Know your routes. Now that is the key to this play, gentlemen. The receivers run a fly
I
route
gotta
downfield
find a
and then
gory
blocks the
video
play
then.
routes, okay? Know your assignments.
Lola was awake.
I'm losing it. I'm tired all
Lola
the
was
time.
awake.
I can't keep my eyes open.
Yeah, she was up.
If you shop on
She was up doing homework.
No sharps and no flats.
I know how lucky I am.
Amazon, you should use this tool. It's a browser extension that automatically compares Amazon to other sellers. To see if there's a better price out there.
The following footage revealing a 15-year-old mass killer has never been seen before.
We discovered his dad on the couch. His face was really pale.
You were a stone cold killer. 4 people have been murdered tonight. They're dead. You cannot lie to me. I will drive you down with this. What happened? You will go to jail for the rest of your life. I'm looking in the eyes of a stone cold killer. There's no remorse.
When Nick
What is
Browning
this? This is what a 15-year-old mass killer looks like. I don't know.
3 of his friends arrived at his home, they immediately knew something was very wrong. At first glance, the house appeared to have been burglarized, but when they discovered Nick's entire family murdered, no one could have ever expected the chilling and twisted truth behind their deaths. The 4 15-year-olds were Ryan Fingles, Taylor Tewksbury, Alexander Smith, and Nicholas Nick Browning. The boys spent time at the mall on the Saturday afternoon of February 2nd, 2008, before they were dropped off at Nick's house
If I
in an
ever get
affluent
killed by
Baltimore
my kid,
suburb
I'm
of Cockeysville, Maryland.
smacking him.
Immediately, the boys noticed that a door to the Brownings' house had been left unlocked, and it looked as though there may have been a robbery. When they entered the home, the boys found Nick's father, John Browning, a well-respected attorney, shot to death where he had been asleep on the sofa. They soon discovered that Nick's mother, Tamara, and his 2 younger brothers, 13-year-old Gregory and 11-year-old Benjamin, had all been shot as they were sleeping in their bedrooms. After the police were called, the 4 traumatized boys were brought into the police station to give their statements about the haunting discovery. They were separated into different interrogation rooms while they wait for a detective to come and question them.
Yeah, no, and then when they're all sleeping too. They all died when they were sleeping. I mean, which is probably like the best way to go. Cause you don't feel it, you don't see it coming. You just go to sleep forever. But it also sucks because you're comfortable at your house and you're sleeping, and then you don't wake up.
Nick's 3 friends are important witnesses as they were there when the Browning family was found dead, and were also with Nick for most of the evening and the majority of the following day. The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney and former criminal prosecutor, a licensed clinical psychologist, and an individual with a Master of Science in Clinical Psychology.
That's me. I have a diploma for psychology.
The interrogator enters the room and introduces himself to Ryan Fingles as Dave instead of officer or detective. This is done to put Ryan at ease and make the detective seem less intimidating or authoritative.
Such a weird last name. Fingles.
It's been a long day. Well, just need some basic information from you to Ryan, right? Yes. What's your name, Ryan? No.
Him drinking our water made me thirsty. Now wait, what the fuck? This video's 2 hours long.
Football plays.
I'm not gonna finish this video. Psychology at 7 a.m.
But you're dating Quinn from
Yeah. I know.
Yes. Andrew. What's your last name? Fingles. F-I-N-G-L-E-S.
Remember flirting is cheating.
No, that's a messed up joke. I was gonna say I would kill my whole family too if it was Fingles.
I'm gonna see if
Detective is gathering basic background information from Ryan and is getting him comfortable talking. Ryan is in 10th grade, which makes him a minor, so the detective will have to be careful to make sure he understands his rights. Another detective uses a similar approach when he enters the room of 15-year-old Taylor Tewksbury. In comparison, Taylor seems very nervous, which is to be expected when being interrogated.
I'm a homicide detective. Some bad stuff has happened tonight. I need you to be 100% honest with me. I want you to tell me what's been going on and explain. Who are you with all day?
I was with Ryan, Alex, and Nick. We were at Ryan's house in the morning because we slept over there last night.
What time did you guys go there last night?
I went over there right after school.
You got there after school about what time?
Well, I went home first, and then my mom drove me over there around like 2:50 maybe.
2:50?
2:50.
2:50.
Yeah.
He's giving a lot of details about the evening and comes across as truthful.
I have no idea why he did
Taylor
it.
is also facing the detective, suggesting that he is engaged in the interview.
Okay, what did you guys do there last night?
Mostly, we were playing cross-up front, and we played video games, basically. Watched the movie.
What movie was?
We were watching, what's it called? I remember we're watching Robin Vegas first, and then we're looking through the movies. Accepted. We're watching Accepted. We started at around like 10:15 or something.
Around 10:15 or something?
Yeah.
At least he's
And
being
I fell
honest.
asleep like halfway through it. And then,
Well, he's trying to be honest.
We bought the house for you.
It looks
and
like
the living room, the living room.
I feel like
Family
shit.
room, I guess you wanna call it.
Who's parents on?
Yes.
The detective begins the interview with Alexander Smith by being very upfront and lets him know he isn't in trouble.
What's your last name? Smith. Wow, I always talk to your dad. Your dad's here. When you guys leave, I think he's gonna take care of that boys getting to where they gotta go. Okay. And you nickname other now? You know, street name or anything like that?
Yeah, he's trying to be
You
important
feel
for his
across the
story.
line? Yes.
Again, he gets basic information from him and builds some rapport with Alex by asking about things that are non-threatening. Meanwhile, Nick Browning eventually puts his head down and appears to fall asleep.
I'm sorry it takes so long.
The detective enters and immediately apologizes to Nick for the long wait. He does this to come across as friendly and to start building rapport. He also wants to let Nick know they are actively investigating and speaking to other people, so he might be less inclined to lie.
Just twisted your soul.
No offense to you, whoever that comes in here, I gotta read their rights too, so I gotta read your rights.
The detective is trying to put Nick at ease by saying that he has to read the Miranda rights to everyone. By making this seem like a very ordinary thing, he's less likely to start off being defensive. The detective reads Nick his Miranda rights and has him read them back to him to make sure he is literate and is listening. Because Nick has no priors and is a minor, the detective needs to take extra care in making sure he understands his rights before he begins interrogating him.
Can we talk a little bit? Can you sign that here for me? I'll get over it, trust me.
The detective intentionally speaks very casually and then immediately jumps into the interrogation. He does this so Nick doesn't have an opportunity to hesitate and request an attorney. The detective also makes the conversation seem casual, so he isn't aware of the seriousness of speaking to the police without legal representation. Notice how close the detective sits to Nick versus how he was seated with the other boys.
Like, I get it. They're trying to get the truth and everything, but like, that's also fucked up because in a way he's taking advantage of the kids and stuff, you know? Like, I get it. Like, they're like killers or whatever, but it's funny how sometimes the cops just take advantage of stuff like that. And like he said, you know, he immediately cut into the interrogation so that he doesn't have a chance to ask for an attorney. Yeah.
He's intentionally invading his personal space to make him focus on him. It's more difficult to lie to someone who's inches from your face, looking directly at you.
So, tell me what's happened last day and a half. What was going on? And last night, I guess we start tomorrow. Yesterday afternoon.
Came home from school.
It is their job,
25,
but
and thought about going to
it's just funny how it's
basketball game,
fucked
but
up
then I
though.
ended
If you
up
look at it
killing
from like
basketball. Thought about going
their
to
side, like you are a lawyer,
for bunch of reasons.
you would see that
I'm
and
gonna
be
go south.
like, oh, that's a
Okay.
good way to
Hang out
fight
there,
against
went outside for a little bit,
took advantage of a
Yeah,
kid.
But what were you
And
doing
a
there?
kid, he like as a lawyer, I could be like, oh, you took advantage of a kid by making him nervous or whatever because the kid doesn't know what's going on, and I could make a case like, oh, you made the kid nervous, so and he just went through something traumatic, so he could just be saying shit, and you took the right of having an attorney and having him feel safe to say what he actually has to say, and with a clear mind. You know what I mean? Like I could use that as a lawyer, as a defense for that client.
The police officer begins a very basic line of questioning, allowing him to describe the events of the past 2 days on his own. Getting Nick to tell his own version of what happened will help the police attempt to poke hope.
And yes, that point that I just made wouldn't really save his ass, but it was at least have the judge give him pettiness, I guess, because they're like, oh, he has a point, the kid I got taken advantage of, all this shit,
Who's in his story?
Play Smash Bros a little bit.
I don't know. I know the address. Where does Ryan live?
Do you know Springdale?
Yeah, I know where the pool and stuff is.
Right, it's in that neighborhood.
Okay.
While one detective is handling Nick's questioning, another is simultaneously questioning Ryan. We pick up where they're discussing the boys' activities the previous night, when they all stayed over at Ryan's house, and start to discuss where exactly Nick was during that night.
You guys spent the entire evening together yesterday? Yes. You were actually in the house about last night?
We'll just walk around the neighborhood.
Okay. How far do you live from where he lives?
Half a mile.
Half a mile? Did you guys go over there?
No.
Did he?
Yes.
What time did he go over there?
Like 12:30.
Last night?
Yes.
What did you get home for?
Truthfully, we were going to just take his car out.
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Nick Browning. Just take his car out for a little drive.
Okay. Did you guys do that?
No.
Oh, you were there?
Yes. Nick said that he was there. That when he got
Wait,
there,
so
the
who's the
lights were
killer,
still
Ryan
on.
or Nick?
Okay.
And so he just.
Because I know the other guy is in the killer. That's the chubby kid. I'm pretty sure he's not the killer.
It seems Nick planned to sneak home to get the car before driving back to take the boys for a ride, but this never happened. Although it isn't known for sure, it can be assumed that Nick would have to sneak home to get the car due to his age. At only 15 years old, he would be unable to get his driver's license. Nick's story that he fell asleep in the car doesn't sound very feasible. If he went home to get his car, which he wasn't allowed to do, adrenaline would have likely kept him up. It's also suspicious
if you do
that
it
the
every
lights in the
day,
house.
if you be sneaking out to get your parents' car every day, the adrenaline wouldn't really be there anymore. You know what I mean? Do you think he did it? Who are the kids to the parents or the family that died? Well, that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if it's Ryan's family or Nick's family. I'm pretty sure now that I'm like listening to it better, it's Nick's family, and Nick killed them. It's a fact though. Like I'm pretty sure they said it. That it's a fact that Nick killed the parents. The reason for it, I don't know yet. But yeah. They're friends of the son of the family. That's it.
House allegedly were on that late at night. If there had been an intruder, they likely wouldn't have turned the lights on. As well, Nick probably would have seen or heard something if his family was killed around the same time he was sitting in the driveway.
Yeah, so it was Nick's
his
family.
story isn't logical.
And like 3 hours later.
And their friends,
how many hours later?
either their friends helped them, some of them. No, the son didn't die because the son is the one who carried out the action. The son is Nick, and Nick is the one who killed his family. But now it looks like Ryan had some part of it. But the other kid, the chubby kid with the black shirt, it looks like he didn't have any part of it. At least from what I see right now. But so far, his story isn't adding up and he's lying. So it looks like he has a part of it to do with it too. Yeah, the kid with the red shirt. He's the killer basically, and it looks like his friends are trying to cover up for him.
Yeah, maybe I helped me and my teammates out a little bit, but it's only because I'm sick and tired of
Later,
working so hard and still losing.
Alex called him and see where he was. He's like, oh, I fell asleep in the car, and then he came back to my house.
After Ryan explains that Nick temporarily left the sleepover for a few hours, we return to Taylor's interrogation room. The detective is getting Taylor's account of the previous night's events.
So basically after that, when I woke up, started watching this
So you
TV.
fell asleep.
Yeah, I woke back up around like 12.
Oh, these kids
and
are
went to
funny.
bed. Went to like an actual bed. I was like on the couch.
Okay.
I mean on the chair.
Woke up around midnight.
Yeah.
What bed did you go to?
You see how nervous he is and that he's messing up what he's saying? That's what makes me think that he's being honest. He's just nervous about the whole thing.
Went into his brother's room, and then
Was Joe there?
Joe, no, he was not there.
Where's he?
He was at a friend's house.
Okay. So you went in Joe's room?
Yeah, and then the parents had friends over, and they weren't gonna sleep there, then they did.
The friends of the Bengals did?
Yeah, they're friends, so they came into Joe's room to sleep, so I had to get up, went down to the basement, and slept on the futon.
What time was that about, you remember?
I don't know what time it was. It was probably like 1:30 maybe.
I don't know, like, to me it looks like he's not lying because he's trying to get all the details right. He just looks nervous. That's it.
When you woke up to go to Joe's room, where were all the other boys?
They was sleeping on the couch next to me and up in his room.
Okay.
Oh,
was
they're
Nick
all
there?
sleeping together?
You
That's
sure?
kind of gay.
It's so important.
Wait, hold up. I gotta put that back. I didn't hear what
And
he
would have
said
likely
because I'm
kept him up.
stupid.
To Taylor's interrogation room. The detective is
His brother's room. They came into Joe's room to sleep, so I had to get up, went down to the basement, and slept on the futon.
What time was that about, you remember?
I don't know what time it was. It was probably like 1:30 maybe.
When you woke up to go to Joe's room, where were all the other boys?
They was sleeping on the couch next to me and up in his room.
Okay. Was Nick there?
Yes.
You sure? It's so important.
Yeah, now it looks like he's messing up the time frame of everything. So maybe he did have something to do with it.
No, I don't think he was.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, no,
He wasn't there.
he went.
Okay.
The detective can tell Taylor is hesitant about speaking,
Yeah.
so he reminds him that he needs to tell the truth.
I don't
Taylor?
know.
He's taking his time trying to remember what he said. So he apparently the nervousness was because he's lying. He's taking his time to answer because he's trying to remember what he said. Because how do you not remember if he was there or not?
I'll tell you now.
Yes.
This is
Because they're kids, you know. I'm pretty sure they would have said, "Oh, if they were drunk or if they had any type of drugs," you know.
the murder case.
Yes.
You're 15
So they should be able to remember. Basically, that's my point.
years old.
Yes.
You cannot lie to me.
Alright.
Because you will go to jail for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Saying that he'll go to jail for the rest of his life is rather aggressive, as Taylor is only 15 and it's also not actually true. The detective needs him to be truthful, but he oversteps a little here. Police are allowed to lie to suspects, but this seemed unnecessary at this point, given Taylor's age.
People ask me all the time, Chris, if you could only take one supplement for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The
There was
answer is
no alcohol, no drugs to do with the whole situation. That's what I'm saying. That it shouldn't be that hard to remember if you remember his friend, if your friend was there or not.
Not in there?
No.
Do you know that he left?
What?
Do you know that he left?
I mean, yeah, I guess because I didn't see him there. I didn't know he was leaving.
How do you not
To
know
really
what
true,
you
I
said?
really don't know the exact times.
That's fine.
I mean, I didn't have like a clock I was looking at.
I'm with you.
Taylor is displaying some behaviors that indicate he's feeling anxious, such as holding his hands in front of his torso and frequently touching his face. However, given his young age and the fact that his friend's family was just found murdered, it would be understandable that he's feeling anxious.
So that's the thing,
Although
you know?
some dismiss body language analysis as pseudoscience, it's used by the FBI and CIA during interrogations. When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. These indicators can be signs of discomfort or uncertainty in what the individual is stating, rather than indicators of deception. It's extremely important to note that you cannot detect deception through body language analysis alone.
Yes,
We
but
pick up where the detective
everybody
is
acts
explaining
different,
to
reacts
Alex the
to things
utter
differently, you know?
magnitude of the horrific.
Like, for example, I get act nervous because, you know, you know me, you know, I start to play with my fingers and stuff when I get nervous and everything, and but that could be for many reasons, though, you know. Sometimes I get excited and I start playing with my fingers, you know, but I could also be very nervous for a good reason, you know, because I'm like all anxious, you know, for something excited, or I do that too when I'm also nervous in a bad way. In this case, like he said, you know, it could be because either he's lying or because he just saw his friend's family dead. All of them. Wife, dad, and little brothers. 11, 13-year-old. Imagine seeing your 11-year-old brother shot. I would be nervous. And I'll be messing up the times too, if that was the case, you know? So that's what's so hard about this case is that, do we have their age? They're very young people, and the magnitude of the situation. You know, seeing one person dead is already like kind of harsh to look at, especially when you know them. You know, but seeing 4 of them dead, that's crazy. Yeah.
The crimes.
We haven't figured out by now something really serious is happening to the Browning family. You're 15 years old. I need you to be 100% honest. The other boys have been honest with me. You can't take up the lie. Okay? Yes.
By telling him that the other boys have been honest with me, the detective is trying to ensure that Alex is telling the truth. If he thinks that the other boys told the detective everything, he'll feel pressured to do the same. If he denies something, but the other boys say it happened, he might be afraid he'll get in trouble with the police.
I'm going to ask you to take me through the last 28, 29 hours, what's been going on. So you guys, from what I know, all spent the night over at Rathfinch, right? Yes. What did you guys do from there?
Alex begins to give his account of the previous night, which seems to be consistent with Taylor's account.
Well, we slept there, and in the morning,
You're skipping over a lot, okay?
what?
I want you to take it slow and not skip out stuff, okay?
Alright,
So last night you guys went there.
yeah.
What did you guys do while you were there?
We ordered food from Georgia's and watched Smoking Aces and Accepted.
No, accepted. There he goes.
Ran around outside.
So
a
maybe
little
he
bit,
wasn't lying. He's just nervous.
And we basically just all went to sleep
Okay. Well, what were you guys watching TV and stuff? What room of the house?
in the living room.
Were Ryan's parents home?
Yes,
Was there other people there too?
yes.
Ryan's parents?
Friends.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, like he brought up the friends, the parents' friends too.
Nick.
Who else? Did Ryan go to his room?
Yeah, Ryan went up to his room, and Ted went up to Ryan's brother's room, and then moved downstairs.
Okay. Why did Taylor have to go upstairs?
Because Ryan's parents' friends were sleeping.
No, no, it was the same movie. He said accepted.
Back in
Yeah, he
Taylor's
said a different
interrogation
movie.
room, it seems he's wrestling with himself. It's as if he has something he wants to get off his chest. The detective is expressing just how crucial it is that he disclose the full story of what happened through the previous night and into the morning, where everything took a terrible turn for the worst.
Are you sure you've been 100% honest? Is there something you should be telling me? Because I'm not telling you how important this is right now. There's something you think?
Actually,
There's something.
he told me that he was going to go out, but he didn't tell me where he was going.
Okay.
He said,
I appreciate this. I mean, this is.
and he said he was going to go out. I mean, I don't know. Last time, he said he was going to go out, and then
What do you tell you about that?
As he talks, Taylor picks up the water bottle. Picking up the water bottle suddenly has to have some meaning because this happened precisely when he was telling the detective about Nick having gone out. Ryan does the same thing when he seemed uncomfortable. Based on behavioral observations, Taylor and Ryan appear to know something or have strong suspicions that Nick was up to no good when he left the house.
Yeah. They definitely know something happened, you know. Maybe they didn't take a part of the action, but they know for sure, you know, what happened.
He told you something. Well,
I don't know, he said he was gonna go and
Taylor is looking down and avoiding eye contact, showing that he's clearly nervous, revealing what Nick told him he was going to do.
he said he was gonna, since he had
Notice that the detective leans in very close to him when he starts stuttering and hesitating. The detective is mirroring the boy's body language, which is a nonverbal rapport building technique used to make them feel more comfortable and friendly with the detective. Typically, mirroring behavior is something you can observe between people who are close and comfortable with each other. Although we can't know for sure, and he can be displaying this behavior subconsciously, as the majority of people do, the detective seems to be using this technique quite intentionally throughout the interrogations in an attempt to make the group feel more at ease, friendly,
He's
and willing
legit
to share
copying them.
any information they may have. Point out any mirroring behavior you catch throughout the interrogations with timestamps in the comments.
he said he might take the car, but he ended up
take his parents' car.
It's his car.
Yeah,
Continues
exactly.
speaking, but becomes
He's
more
holding the
obviously
truth.
uncomfortable. He
Now
stutters
allowing the
slightly and
case
starts to cover his
to
face with his
move
hands while
forward.
speaking. He fidgets and frequently
Which
touches
is
his
illegal.
face,
Highly
which is a
illegal.
self-soothing behavior. He's likely feeling very anxious, possibly still feeling torn about whether to be loyal to his friend
Right.
or be honest with the detective. Again, this is another pretty strong indication that Taylor may not be telling the whole truth. The question is, why would he risk himself just to try and protect Nick? Given
No,
that the crime here
yeah.
is
Do you want to
something
go
so
sleep in
serious.
15? That's fine.
He's
I'll take it off.
going, he's going like,
Honestly, the whole video is 2 hours. You're not gonna watch the whole thing. But yeah, no. If you want 15 minutes, that's fine. Or whenever you want to. I want to be good for tomorrow too. Trust me.
might take the car. He might
Did you say we were going to build the car?
No, he did not. He said he's going to, and next thing I knew it, woke up, and he said fell asleep, whatever. So he said fell asleep in his car. And then he walked back, I guess. It was like, I don't know which one he did.
Okay.
And that's,
Okay. I'm gonna let you think for a little bit, and I'm gonna come back in and talk to you, okay? You need anything?
no.
Yeah, exactly.
Once alone, Taylor looks rather uneasy and is likely rattled by this situation.
Yeah, he's like,
We
fuck,
now
I
hear
just sniffed.
firsthand what Nick claims to have occurred the previous night.
And then at around 1:30, stupid me, I went back to my house to try to get the car.
Nick says stupid me to make it clear that he knew it was a bad idea and to appear to the officer like he's a good kid.
Yeah. And the keys were, when my parents were, the lights were on in the house.
Notice how Nick taps the table while talking in an attempt to emphasize his points. However, these taps appear mistimed rather than aligned with his statements.
And the keys were, when my parents were, the lights were on in the house.
Typically, these sort of illustrators will line up with a person's statements when they're being truthful. But Nick's are all off, and at times he isn't even hitting the table. This is also known as incongruent body language, or when someone's words and body language don't match. According to the body language panel, these are known as misplaced or mistimed illustrators and can be a cue of deception.
And so I didn't want to take the car out, so because the lights were on, I was sort of worried. And so I went in the car and started yelling, I'm going to go to bed in a half hour, and the lights will be off. So I was sitting there, going to fall asleep. Then I get a call from Alex around 5 in the morning.
Okay.
And then I wake me up, and then I check the car, and the lights are still on in the house.
Okay.
And it doesn't make sense now, but,
Okay. So what did you do?
I walked back in. It's 5 in the morning.
Okay. So did you ever get inside the keys at all, or?
No, I went in the car, but never inside the house.
Okay.
His casual demeanor is somewhat unusual given he's just found his entire family murdered.
Right.
However, it's possible that he's currently experiencing feelings of denial and hasn't fully let the truth sink in, which could somewhat explain why he appears to be acting normally. Nick speaks in a much more mature manner compared to his three friends who...
That's the thing that sucks about everything, you know? Like, you could make a case that, oh, he's acting like this because he's the murderer, but you could also make the case, oh, like, he's acting like this because he's in shock, you know. And that's the thing about the situation. But clearly, you know, we obviously know the outcome of the whole case, and we know that he killed his family. And but like, but when you're dealing with the situation, it's so hard to really like know what's true and what's wrong. That's why it takes so long.
I'm bringing in someone else to co-chair the Glee Club.
Exactly.
Track record of responsibility and excellence.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. His whole family is he doesn't seem upset about it. But like I said, you know, we could also make a case that he's in shock or he's in denial. He doesn't believe that they're dead. You know.
Definitely sound more like kids.
Did you walk back to Ryan's house?
Yeah, and I got
How far is it, man?
It's a hike. It's probably like 20-minute walk.
Okay.
Alex now gives his account of the sleeping situation.
Well, again, everybody's different, you know. Like I know a lot of people where their parents died and they're very close with their parents, and they die, and they don't shed a single tear, and they don't act like they basically act like nothing happened. You know. And then you know we have other people where you know they think and they're in tears hysterically because somebody they know died. You know. Everybody just acts different to everything, you know. In this case, they don't know who killed the family yet, you know. So that's why it's like, oh, you could definitely make that case at that moment. But afterwards, when you know the answer already, you know, like he killed them, like obviously you can't make that case anymore.
Ryan's house, which is a bit different than what the other boys had to say. Watch his story begin to evolve as he fills in some of the missing pieces of the puzzle.
So you and Nick slept in the living room?
Yes.
You're 100% sure? You need to be perfectly honest with me. That Nick was in there with you?
Yes.
The whole night?
Yes.
Alex denies that Nick left the house that night. The detective already knows this is untrue. Alex may feel like he has to protect his friend by saying that Nick was sleeping in the living room the whole night. At that age, one's peer relationships may be the most important thing.
Yep.
Friends' opinions and thoughts are often held in higher esteem than that of one's own family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm having 2 people tell me he left the house. This is a murder investigation. 4 people have been murdered tonight. You don't want to start lying to me right now. I will drive you down with this if you start lying with me. You need to tell me 100% truth. I already know he's left the house. I already know why he left the house.
You know what sucks about the whole situation though? They're still gonna charge him as a kid, and they're probably only gonna give him like a year, or maybe until he turns 18, and that's it. And that sucks.
He immediately changes his story and appears to now tell the truth. The boys may have decided together to lie about Nick leaving the house prior to being brought into the station to protect their friend. Saying that he left the house would obviously make him look guilty.
Tell me what happened.
Well, Nick was leaving the house because he was going to take his car out.
So when did he tell you that he was going to go over there?
He said he was going to leave at 12:45.
What were you guys going to do? Drive around?
Yeah, drive around.
Do you have anybody to go visit girls or anything like that?
No, they were just going to drive around.
Okay.
Yeah, they get something less
What
because
happened after
they're
that?
kids.
Well, I fell asleep around 1. And then
I feel like if you take a light,
and then I woke up around 5.
Time for it.
And I called Nick to see where he was because he said he was going to come back and wake me up when he had the car, but he never called, so I called him. He said he was walking back to Ryan's and he was lost, and I told him how to get him. He said he was
his friend is the killer, but he's trying to like cover.
He said for about 3 hours, I guess.
It's hard to tell if any of these boys suspected something,
Yeah.
or maybe even knew
But
more.
I feel like that's
behavior here is similar.
I feel like matching up the stories and going back to your notes. I feel like that's the fun part, you know. They're like, oh yeah, caught him in a lie right here. You know, I'm getting closer to it. You know, I don't know. I feel like that's the fun part.
But to Taylor's, except that he seems to lie more overtly about the living room situation. Back in Ryan's interrogation room, the detective receives the same story provided by Taylor and Alex.
Tell what happened.
We went upstairs. We ate breakfast or lunch. Lunch. And then, let's see, Nick went upstairs to take a shower.
And then what happened?
When Mr. Beck came, Alex drove us back to Nick's house because we were going to go there for the night. And he went inside. I don't know, like, when we were waiting, we were worried because Nick...
If you want, I'll take it off now. And we can just talk. I don't mean to scare you. Here, let me just put lo-fi music. And then we can just talk. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the night. As soon as I get off, I'm gonna get off in a bit. And I'm gonna go straight to bed. I don't know if you were looking at me, but like I was yawning like that whole time. Not because it was boring, just because I'm tired. No, you don't have to say sorry. I get it, so don't worry about it. But yeah, no, I'm tired too. So don't worry about it, cause I'd be tired too. I don't know. I didn't want to leave you hanging either, but now it's live streaming, you know. Especially because I was supposed to see you for a bit, but that never happened. But that's fine, like I said, you know. I didn't want to leave you hanging. I wanted to at least spend a little bit of time, you know. But entirely up to you, you know. Because I'll stay on for a bit and then text. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, no, I'm tired. Then I gotta go to work earlier tomorrow too. Yeah, that's the only thing. You got a delay in the text messages. I am gonna sleep soon. I'm tired. No, yeah, that's fine. You know. I'm happy that I spent a little bit of time, you know. But yeah, no, I'm tired, so I'm just gonna go hit the bed and you're yawning. So yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool. He's so scared. Yeah, I like it when they kind of explain it too, because sometimes you know you don't know what you're watching until somebody says it. Like the mirroring, like him copying what they were doing. Like I didn't even notice that. Yeah, you don't catch everything, and I think that's cool. I'm sorry that I'm looking down. I'm just looking at the messages that you be sending. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll text you anyway. Thank you. I'll text you anyway. I have to say good night and bye bye.